Everyone, and welcome back to the Sage Skills Lab on YouTube. The Sage Skills Lab exists for one reason: to turn insight into action. Every single one of our videos here will give you science-backed skill and practice that you can start today. We'll offer you a key takeaway that makes you sharper and a stronger, better leader. So we hope that you'll lock in, because today's takeaway is going to change the way that you run teams from here on out. Today we're talking about how teamwork is changing in the AI and skills-based work environment. So let me ask you this. How many projects are you currently leading, working on, or contributing to? Is it 1, 3, 5? Well, research tells us that the average professional in 2026 is multi-teaming and actually juggling 3 to 5 simultaneous projects. With teammates moving in and out constantly, that's not really a team. It's more like a revolving door. And the part that no one's really prepared for, one of those teammates is probably an AI agent now. Does that sound familiar? When teams are this fluid, traditional onboarding is too slow. The old way of working, wait for trust and then build your relationship, lets the team form and become the norm. That doesn't cut it anymore. You don't have 3 months. You don't have a lot of different experiences. You don't even have the water cooler in many cases. You might not even have 3 weeks. Today in the Sage Skills Lab, we're building the skill of rapid team integration. How to become high-performing in days, weeks, if not hours. Definitely not months. To be effective today, there's a mindset shift that changes everything. And it's about interoperability. It's about how we interface with others. It's actually thinking of ourselves as an interface as opposed to a personality. So if we stop thinking of ourselves as a personality to be understood over time, and we start thinking of ourselves about becoming an interface to be read instantly, we can actually work with others much more effectively than we ever have before, especially in the way that the world of work is evolving. And what we've seen is that great leaders in fluid teams have what's called this interface mindset. They make it effortless for a new team, human or AI, to know exactly how to work with them. This means being able to communicate 3 things from day one. First, your contribution style. Are you the finisher who drives things to completion? Or are you the ideator who opens up the possibilities? Know it and say it. Second, communicating your data requirements. What do you actually need to get started? Don't make people guess. It's important to bring them out, to actually share them, to talk about them, so that it's obvious, because the person they worked with before had a completely different set of expectations. And third, your pressure points. What happens to you when a deadline shifts? How does it affect your life? How do you react? Do you go quiet, or do you go into overdrive? If your colleagues, your teammates don't know this, they'll misread you at exactly the wrong moment. And even worse, research shows that we blame each other for it. And that creates all kinds of other kind of relationship difficulties that then have to be unpicked and worked out over time. At TalentSage, we use the tipping point profile to help leaders map all of these preferences with precision. So when you know you're about ready to actually change your interface or your team into a new group, you can plug into any new team. You're not a mystery to unravel. You're a partner ready to work with effectively. That's the difference between a leader who needs to build a runway and a leader who hits the ground running. And we want you to be able to add value on day one. Now, what happens when that teammate is an AI agent? And this isn't a future possibility. Leaders everywhere are telling us how they're having to manage AI agents. And here's where most leaders and most companies get it wrong. They treat AI as software, a tool, a fancy search engine, and this kind of misses the point. In a fluid team, we need to treat AI as a digital teammate, because if our AI doesn't have a defined role with clear boundaries and a handoff protocol, it doesn't save our team time. It actually creates noise. So let me explain what I mean. Teamworking is context rich. There's a lot of information that we use to collaborate effectively that we don't even think about. We just do. And multi-teaming, well, that's team working on steroids. When you're onboarding an AI agent into your own workflow, try to ask yourself the same questions about your AI agent that you would about a new teammate, a new colleague, or even a new hire. If you think about what you need to know to work with them, it'll make working with the agent a lot more interesting and easier, more effective too. For example, what's its specific expertise? What expertise do you need it to have? What responsibilities does it have? What are the decisions that it can make? And which ones does it rely on from other people, or maybe even its boss, to be able to make? And critically, when is a human override required by one of your team? And whose job is that override? And we'd even recommend you tell it the personality traits that you'd like it to have, and the ones that you need it to work with your team in order to work most effectively. I mean, after all, interpersonal noise is just as, if not even more distracting as poor work outputs. And every task in your team should have a clear label. It's what's AI-led, human-led, or a collaborative handoff. Without that map, it's very difficult to actually work together. Your team will keep doing what most teams do, duplicating work, second-guessing outputs, not working effectively with a technology that was supposed to help them. And given AI's role, this is exactly what it is in 2026. Treat it like a teammate, and it'll make your team even better. All right, so here's your practical takeaway to try with your team this week. 60-minute flash onboarding, and it only has 3 steps. Step 1, role map. Get everyone into a room, and in 15 minutes, whether it's virtual or physical, lay out a basic work process and define exactly who holds the human override for each task. Not we're all responsible, one name per task. Step 2, the tech handshake. It only takes 10 minutes. Identify every AI tool the team will use and assign a context engineer for each one. The context engineer is the person accountable for the quality of what goes in, because the bad prompts will actually create bad output, and somebody has to own that. Step 3, social contract. Using your TalentSage 5-step personality profile data, you can share a user manual insight about yourself. Something like, I score high on conscientiousness, which means I can over-edit and slow things down. And if that's happening, please call me out on it. That single act of self-awareness builds more psychological safety in 10 minutes than most teams build in a month. 60 minutes, 3 steps, flash onboarding. That's it. Just give it a go. You'll be amazed at how much collaboration drag disappears the moment that work is clearly articulated and coordinated. Because the truth about leading in 2026 is that clarity is more powerful than charisma. Your team doesn't need you to inspire them every day. They just need to know who's doing what and why. Ultimately, fluidity in teams doesn't have to mean friction. The tools exist. The science exists. We just have to apply it. If you want to understand more about how your team is really wired, who the finishers are, who the ideators are, and how your AI agent should fit in, head to talentsage.com. The 5-step personality profile and the tipping point profile will give you